Hello fellow Call of Duty gamers, I'm Master Mitch, and today I'm bringing you guys a how-to video, how to increase your Call of Duty skill wherever it is to that of a professional level, and it is very simple. It's steps that don't require any money whatsoever. I know there are people who are believers of you have to have the latest, greatest, most expensive headset out there. You have to have a SCUF remote with all of the extra panels on there. You have to have the greatest, fastest response time monitor. All of that is a load of crap. It really is, in my opinion. I'm a firm believer of having skill and ability to make yourself better at Call of Duty. It's not, you can buy the greatest things, and yes, they will help you. But in the end, you can have the greatest things and you can still suck at Call of Duty. It doesn't require buying the greatest things. It's simply applying yourself, applying a few steps into your Call of Duty process, the things you do regularly, and just over time increasing your ability and working at it. So let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay and start working on improving your game. The first thing I would do is pull up your options and check out your setting preferences. One of the first things to look at within the settings would be the tactical and the default. I know a lot of people who are really good at Call of Duty who use the tactical. In fact, that's one of the most used, I believe, button layouts is using tactical because it switches. You're able to actually drop shot using the R3 rather than having to press B with your thumb, switching it over. And I use the default, which is different than most of the... One of the first... Let's just delete this and try again because I'm... Testing 1, 2, 3. The first thing I would do is pull up your options and check out the settings that you use. If you are very accustomed to using these and you know how to, the first thing I would do is pull up your options and check out the settings that you use. And I would like, the first step is to simply check out the options and look at the settings that you use, your preferences. If you have experimented with these things, you know some of the different things. However, tactical. One of the first things I would advise doing is pulling up the options and checking out your settings. Looking at the preferences of the things that you use. I use a default button layout. I know a lot of people who are above the average on Call of Duty skill, they use tactical, and the reason is they're able to switch. You can see the R3, the first thing I would do is pull up your options and check out your setting preferences. One of the first things to look at within the settings would be the tactical and the default. I know a lot of people who are really good at Call of Duty who use the tactical and check out the settings that you use. If you are very accustomed to using... The next thing I would do after looking at your settings is look at every aspect of the game. Look at the perks, your weapons that you have, all of your weapons in your armory, the different variants, the score streaks. I would break it down, try to have a better understanding of the game, because if you're using perks because you see other people using it, or maybe the ASM1 Speakeasy because you see me using it, it's not going to help you really. Having an understanding of the game is so underappreciated in my opinion. I feel like people just play with what's the most popular or the highest buffed at the current moment, and they don't really take time to consider what works for them. They just use it because they see everyone else using it. But what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. It just kind of works like that. That's how the game is, and having an understanding of what fits to your gaming style is the most important. And the only way to do this is by experimenting with it, using things you've never used. I know there's people who have certain guns in this game that they have never gotten a single kill with, and it's not because they're not good, it's because they don't use those weapons. They never try them. And how can you know if you're not good with something until you've given it a fair opportunity? So just understanding the game, knowing what the stats are on weapons, knowing why you want certain perks for certain maps and such is so valuable. Knowing the game type. I feel like there's a lot of people who play like mainly team deathmatch, domination, and free-for-all. Those are the wheelhouse. Those are what they know really well. But if you experiment with certain games like Uplink and stuff, there's a lot of fun, unique games out there that you can be really well on. You've just never spent time playing them. So it's really important to have an understanding completely of the game. Now the next thing I would advise you doing is bots. Now, this might be something that you're not familiar with or you don't play very often, or you think is very noobish, and I completely get that. That's often like the #1 thing people say. You've been playing bots? Well, then you're a noob. And right now, I will inform you guys, this round you're watching is not a round of bots. This is an online round. However, I do spend a lot of time, and I have spent a lot of time in the past playing bots, and the reason I do that is, for one, if I'm cold when I first get on a game, and I haven't played in a few weeks, I like to jump onto bots and just play one quick round of like 1 vs 7 free-for-all, and it's just really nice. Be able to jump into the game. It helps you, it gets you back to where you were when you last left off of the game, and it kind of warms you up for the day. And another thing is, bots give you two things: awareness and predictability. It helps you be able to understand the game better, which I spoke about last, having an understanding about it and experimenting with different things, but it also really helps increase your awareness about the game and predictability, being able to understand where people will be, the routes that they will take. I understand bots don't take the most like professional or legit movements and stuff like that. They're kind of random in the way that they move. The computer, the way it's set up, they're not the most predictable. However, if you can predict the styles and the movements, the game types, patterns that bots will be playing, it's only going to help your understanding of the way people play online as well. And it's going to increase your ability to control the rate of the game for yourself so much better and be so much more fluent in that variability, making you overall a better player. So the more time I've spent with bots, I never walk away from playing a round of bots and feel like I've gotten worse. That's the cool thing about bots. Even when you play with them on expert or veteran or whatever, playing with it as hard as you can, it's just going to help you in the long run. So just spend time doing that. I know it seems very noobish. Spend time doing it just for a little bit, and it will actually pay off just by understanding the game, being able to predict certain things that are going to happen, and being able to fully, completely be aware of the enemy movements. Alright, so the next way to improve your game might be one of the most important, and that is trying different tactics. Now, if you're used to camping, or you're used to rushing, or playing just like a medium defense, you need to try different things, and that's kind of where I like to apply the bots as well. However, playing online, it will never hurt you to play like a full round online and just play completely different than you ever played. Being able to play different styles and being able to master those styles is going to make you so much better under any game type you play, under any map you play, and just whatever style you like to play, because I absolutely love to rush around, like I mentioned, and me being able to camp is kind of important. And the reason that is I know how other people are going to camp. So the more time I spend camping, the more I understand the way other people will be camping, and that is so valuable. Because if I'm rushing around and I say, hey, there's a guy like this is a good spot to camp in my opinion, right here in this building to the left. So if I go ahead and try camping, I know that ahead of time, so me rushing around, it's going to make me more aware of them being in that possible situation and location. So being able to play the different game and master the game at different styles is so valuable. It's so important to just give it a shot and spend multiple rounds. That's why sometimes bots, they're a little unpredictable. The things they do, they're just not reasonable. It doesn't make sense why they move the way they move sometimes. But being able to play with them, it can help your ability to play different styles and master those styles, because the more styles you know, the more game types you know and different movements and stuff, you're going to be so much better overall. If you just have the ability to pick off different styles and predict where the enemies will be with those styles. So that is the very next thing you do, is just work on trying different techniques. It'll make your favorite technique the best, and it'll make you be able to switch over in round from different techniques back and forth. The last and most important thing about applying these steps to your game is to have fun with it, because if you're not having fun, you will not be successful. I find the more frustrated I get when I'm playing Call of Duty, the less likely I am to succeed, and that's just natural. When you're all tense and you're angry and you're not playing well, you're gonna just continue to play worse. It's very rare that someone is so frustrated that they get better. It doesn't usually work like that. So relax, have fun, remember why you're playing the game in the first place, and that will definitely help you guys improve your game. Take it from where it is now to a lot higher, that of a professional level. And if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, If you have any comments or any other tips from me, I know I just summed up a few of the tips. There's so many out there that actually help, like knowing the maps and stuff. All of that, it just comes from playing the game over time. But leave a comment if you do have a tip you'd like to add to the list. And if you are new and you have not already, be sure to subscribe. That'd be awesome. Like my friend Shy said, just do it. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Anyways, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for stopping by.